We always talk about our death as though there was only one, but we all have two deaths. There was a time before you were born when you were dead. You weren't afraid of that period of non-existence. You don't even think about it. So why would you be afraid of your second period of non-existence? You came from non-existence. You're going to go back into it. You weren't afraid of the first. Why are you somehow afraid of the second? So it doesn't really make sense to me as to why people would be afraid of non-existence. You dealt with it fine the first time, deal with it the second time. Every time you go to sleep at night, you get a sneak preview of death. It's just this kind of nothing happens. You wake up in the morning, you're alive again. I'm fully aware that there's going to be a time I don't wake up. But are you going to be afraid of it? Is there some mortal terror you have of this? No, you didn't have it before. You don't have it when you sleep. Going from the fact that you know you won't wake up to terror is two different things. That's an extra step. And at that point, you're making a choice at that point. Humanity has come up with so many amazing things over its existence. And to think that one day this is just all happening on a tiny speck in a distant corner of a very small galaxy and among millions of galaxies, that this is all for nothing. Okay, I can understand there's a kind of dread that comes with this. But there's also a sense in which the moment you're born and the moment you can think about these things, you know this is your inevitable fate. Death is the single greatest motivator for action. But going beyond that and saying that it's somehow terrifying, that's an extra step on his part. And not everyone's going to follow him on that step. I do believe that death is the single most important element in life that gives value to our days. If you think, for example, of a situation where a god came to you and gave you immortality, life would be very, very different for you. You're a talented research scientist. You work to a schedule. Why? Because ultimately, you know, your life is finite, and actually very finite. And could be even more so if fate plays its hand and you die an early death or what have you. We never know what's going to happen tomorrow. As such, we get work done as soon as we can. The moment you gain immortality, you can always put every project off. You can always say, I don't need to do this today because I can do it 4 centuries from now. And as you extend artificially a human life, the motivation to get things done here and now and work industriously and excel fades away, because you can always come back to the idea that you can do this in the future. And so what gives value to our days is ultimately death. And value, it's not the only form of the reason behind value, but a huge part of what we consider value is scarcity. And death gives us scarcity of days and is probably the single greatest motivator for almost every action we partake in. What can we as jiu-jitsu players take away from this? We saw that when it comes to computers versus humans in chess tournaments, humans had something truly valuable to give to the computers. And that was heuristic rules. In every coaching program that I run, I make an endless quest to search out and find effective heuristic rules. That's the basis of a good training program. Heuristic rules and principles give vast informational content which can rapidly increase your performance on the mat, just as they rapidly increase the performance of chess computers to overcome their human adversaries. The great human weakness is computational power. Most people vastly overestimate their ability to reason and problem solve under stress. In fact, numerous psychological studies have shown that humans can balance a relatively small number of competing options in stressful decision making. But what we do have, what is the great and unique human gift, is this idea to come up and arrive at heuristic rules and principles which turn out to be very effective guides to behavior, for both human behavior and artificially intelligent behavior. Make that your focus in study. Don't try to remember 10,000 different details on a move. Okay, that's human weakness, not human strength. Our strength is heuristics. Make that your focus, not endless computations over 25 details here merged with 27 details here. That's not what humans are good at. The uniquely human strength is arriving at these heuristic rules and principles which guide our behavior, which provide simplifications, which enable us to take vast amounts of information and parry it down to a few simple rules that effectively guide our behavior. Take that core insight from the discussion that Lex and I just had. It was a complex discussion. We both apologize for going a little bit overboard.
That was awesome.
And dragging you into some details there, but take that away from it.
I love it.
It'll make you better at jiu-jitsu. Alexander the Great,
Yes.
who died at 33 from probably unnatural causes, had around 4 to 5 truly defining battles in his life, which responsible for the lion's share of his achievements, and burned very bright, but didn't burn long.
Yes.
Stalin, on the other hand, started from nothing and quietly, methodically worked his way through the revolutionary phase and gained increasing amounts of power. And as he said, went all the way to the end of his career. Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for longevity. But as to which one is greater than the other, you can't give a definition or a set of criteria which will definitively say this is better than that.
But when you look,
ultimately, we look at Alexander as great, but in a different way, and we look at Stalin. I don't think many people would say Stalin was a great person, but from the Machiavellian point of view, he would say he was great also. For me, it always comes down to degree of difficulty. But things are difficult in different ways, okay? A single, flawless performance in youth is still that wins a gold medal. Let's say, for example, Nadia Comaneci won the Olympic gold medal in gymnastics, the first person ever to get a perfect score. If she had disappeared after that, we would still remember that as an incredible moment. And the degree of difficulty to get a perfect score in Olympic gymnastics is just off the charts. And contrast that with someone who went to 4 Olympics and got 4 silver medals. I mean, they're both incredible achievements. They're just different. The attributes that lead to longevity typically tend to conflict with the attributes that bring a powerful single performance. One is all about focus on a particular event. The other is on spreading your resources over time. Both present tremendous difficulties. There's no need to say one is better than the other.